And as I introduce our next speakers, I'm really excited to get you acquainted with this next set. So Chris Oliver is the Executive Vice President of Corporate Strategy at Pluralsight, Inc., which is the leading technology workforce development company that helps companies and people around the world transform with technology. Chris joined Pluralsight in August of 2020, overseeing their corporate strategy. With a background in strategy, business development, and corporate development, Chris possesses a unique leadership perspective and breadth of expertise. Chris holds an MBA from the Yale School of Management and a bachelor's degree in public policy from Brown University. He currently serves as board chair of Community of Unity, a New York-based nonprofit that sits on the advisory board at EYP Mission Critical Facilities. He's going to be joined in conversation with our own Dana Hall. Dana joined the Power to Fly community as a job seeker in 2020, eventually landing her role as an account executive working for Power to Fly's sales team. Her professional experience includes roles as an account executive and account manager at large enterprises and small startup companies. She has a bachelor's degree in business management because accounting was too difficult, so she says, from Texas A&M University, where she was also a member of the NCAA equestrian team. She loves to travel, kite surf, hike, and cook over a fire. She travels around North and Central America with her boyfriend Luke, who teaches kite surfing, as well as their dog and cat, Toby and Rico. So welcome to Dana and Chris. I'll turn the floor over to you. Take it away.
Thank you, Meg. That was awesome. I love hearing my introduction again. And hi, Chris. Welcome to our summit today. So glad to have you and representation from Pluralsight. Actually, for everyone that's listening, I'm lucky enough to be the account executive for Pluralsight. So I get to work with Chris and other members of his team just about every day. So thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks, Dana. Excited to be here.
No worries. And yeah, I mean, we have 30 minutes here today almost, Chris. I wanted to take some time and start by having you tell us a bit more about yourself, where you're based, and some insight into your career journey. It sounds like you have acquired a number of different skill sets along the way.
Yeah, it's thank you. New York City, born and raised, and currently nobody's really ever asked me to do a job that's required me to be away from New York City, though I've traveled extensively for my career. This has always been home. It has been an interesting journey through tech. I stumbled literally into the industry 25 years ago. Thought I wanted to do one thing, be a lawyer, like lots of folks. Ultimately determined that wasn't for me, and fell in with a startup back in the mid 90s, and my career in tech has sort of gone from there. And I've always been very much interested in and passionate about, and fortunate enough to have roles around strategy and operations. I've always been desirous of trying to figure out or guide where a particular company is going, and also helping to execute against that strategy. So it's been a great career, and I'm in exactly that role at Pluralsight today.
That's amazing. I have personally been in sales in technology for the last 10 years. And, one of the common questions I get is, hey, can you help me with my computer? I'm having some problems. Do you get that very often?
I'm pretty lucky in that as sort of the strategy, business, operations guy. Nobody has ever mistaken me for being wildly technologically proficient. Although I have picked up a few things over the years, I can hold my own. But few requests for tech support.
Oh man, I must be branding myself all wrong. I get asked all the time, and I'm like, you do not want me to touch your computer, trust me. Well, thank you. No, that's amazing to hear about you. I didn't realize you were in New York. We have quite a few people on the Power to Fly team and our partners based out of New York.
Excellent.
Turning some of your background from, you told us the story of how you got started and kind of how you've made your journey along the way in your career. Can you kind of drill down into your work at Pluralsight? Tell us a little bit more about your mission there and what you're trying to accomplish while at Pluralsight.
Yeah, well, as you accurately described, or as was accurately introduced, Pluralsight is the IT workforce development company, right? We are seeking to provide sort of intermediate and advanced technology professionals with the skills that they need to create new technologies, or to help transform their organizations, or to deepen their own skill set, or whatever it may be. In my capacity with Pluralsight as EVP of strategy, I get to think sort of longer term, sort of 18 months and on, about where we should be and who we should be when we grow up, and how we differentiate ourselves from the competition, and how we continually add value to our users, both individuals, consumers, and our enterprise customers. And then a really neat part of the job is I also have responsibility for our M&A activity. So in the cases where we believe acquiring a company helps us to accelerate into an opportunity, or helps us to more rapidly acquire a capability that we're missing, we get to do that. And as you may have seen in the press, we just closed a deal to acquire a fantastic company called A Cloud Guru, and so they're officially part of the family, and we're really looking forward to working closely with them.
Awesome. No, congratulations. I had not actually seen that yet. So that's super exciting to hear, and I can't wait to hear more about it as well. Thanks so much for the background and some of the information there. As today we're here to talk about tech for social impact. I noticed in some of my research that Pluralsight's approach towards social good seems like two pillars, or two primary sides: closing the tech skill gap through education and support, which you mentioned, and then also workforce development programs. Can you help us to understand a little bit more about Pluralsight's efforts towards ensuring social good through your product?
Yeah, well, as I always like to say, I've been with Pluralsight for just about a year now, and so Pluralsight is neat. It's sort of as much a kind of a traditional, for-profit revenue generating commercial enterprise as it is what I would refer to as a social experiment. Pluralsight has always believed very deeply that closing the technology skills gap is an important lever to really help change the trajectory of underserved men and women out in the world, and was very intentional several years ago, back in 2017, about creating a social impact organization, Pluralsight One, to focus on exactly that mission, right? To both provide low-cost access to our platform, the skills building platform that is so core to our business, and/or making direct cash grants to a handful of key strategic nonprofit partners that have a demonstrated track record of being able to scale impact really effectively. So that Pluralsight One is a huge part of what we do, and very central to the founding mission and objective of the company.
Yeah. Wow. And you started that back in 2017.
That's correct. And
so,
yeah, sorry, go ahead, Dana.
Oh, I was just going to say, so one might say a little bit ahead of the curve of some of these other companies that might be just coming around to some of these initiatives, but have laid out an example of some of the things that you can do to ultimately give back and push, the social good aspect of a company forward.
Yeah, as I've said, it was really the foresight of the founders, who I think we all share. Many of us who have been attracted to Pluralsight, there's this sort of common theme when you talk to many of us, that education has been super important to all of us. I come from a family of teachers and educators, The founders, of course, were teaching and educating folks on how to best leverage technology. And so sort of this notion of teaching and educating and the belief in the power of education to change the trajectory for folks, to help change the narrative for folks is at the core of this company. And as I said, it has been embodied through Pluralsight 1 back in 17. And, over that time, the impact has been tremendous, right? Pluralsight 1 has provided cash grants of over $4 million and product grants totaling over 60 million over that time. And we continue to try to drive impact around the world. Amazing.
And, I think that's really neat, the way that you put it about democratizing technology skills, right? That's the only way to put it, right? Is democratizing it so that we can all level up, and that so we can really also diversify within our workforce, which is what Power to Fly is all about, and our partnership today. One thing maybe for companies that are just getting started, or maybe even for companies that have had initiatives since 2017 as well, just might be considering, taking a play out of your book and figuring out how to, create more impact around some of their initiatives with social good. Can you talk a little bit about, you've talked about some grants and also some of the ways that you're teaching others. Can you talk a little bit about some of your partnerships? Are there any nonprofits that you're working with, or stakeholders that give benefits to these, actual people at the grassroots level?
Absolutely. So we, and I'll sort of keep it within the context still of Pluralsight 1. There are a number of K-12 and nonprofit institutions with whom we work very closely. We provide access, as I said, to our platform for them to leverage technology in a way that's most impactful to either their students or their end users, their constituents, the communities that they serve. And we've got about 1,000 sort of customers today, as I said, K-12 and nonprofit. And then in addition to that, we work very closely with 5 fairly well-known nonprofit organizations that have a demonstrated track record of being able to scale impact at a global level. And those strategic partners of ours include the Malala Fund, the Norwegian Refugee Council, Code.org, Year Up, and the Computer Science Teachers Association. And so we work very closely with them, again, providing access to our platform and cash grants to support the activities that they're driving every day to change the narrative and to change the trajectory of the communities that they serve.
Amazing. Yeah, I've actually heard of a couple of those nonprofits. It's really neat. Some of the partnerships that you've made.
And it's really neat because we get to work, we really have taken a position that says the best thing for us to do after you've selected the right partner is to, really stay out of the way, provide our grants that are really around capacity building and sort of let them do their work. And so the way they engage with us differs because we've really been incredibly flexible based on what it is that they're trying to achieve and the ways in which we can add value. So Norwegian Refugee Council and their IT organization internally is in the midst and has been for a couple of years now of a significant digital transformation. They've recognized that technology can help them to support the 12 million odd displaced people around the world that they serve. And they are serving people in very remote locations around the world. And they've determined that technology is a way to more effectively provide service to those folks. So we've engaged to help support and skill up their technologists to drive their digital transformation. Malala, for example, has their education ambassadors, motivated young men and women around the world who are educating young women in various locations around the world. Our partnership with Malala provides those education ambassadors with the technology tools that help them to innovate how they educate. So it really runs the gamut in terms of how we're working with people.
Yeah. And I'm hearing a lot of wonderful things, a lot of like culture pillars actually, as well as how you're handling these partnerships and how you're nurturing these relationships to ultimately facilitate this initiative, right? Pluralsight One, and ultimately moving forward, how you give back and how you interact with the community as a whole and with your consumer. I can't help but, since I'm an account executive at Power to Fly, and you happen to be my client, and I know a little bit about this on my end as well, but a lot of people that are tuning in today would also love to hear a little bit about how some of these things that you've talked about in the way that you handle these partnerships and these initiatives intertwine or transcend down into Pluralsight's actual internal culture. Some of the ones that I've heard are, really finding the correct people and empowering them, whether that's, providing some sort of methods to upskill them, really putting in the time and effort to help move them forward in their career. I've also heard, some things about, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I've also heard a lot about, democratizing technology and welcoming diversity, right? That's what a lot of talks are happening within the talent community today, and within a lot of businesses that I'm talking to. So since we have a couple minutes here, I wanted to ask you your own personal interaction and experience at Pluralsight. What are some of the things, what's it like to work at Pluralsight?
Yeah, listen, Pluralsight is, and again, what shouldn't come as a surprise to a business that's really focused on educating people and providing them with the tools that they need to be successful in whatever the endeavor might be, or the mission that they're focused on, is a culture that's very much built on learning, right? So it's a very self-reflective culture. We are, I think, very aware of the things that we're good at, the areas where we need to improve, and taking the steps to engage in that personal development. And like learning, that's a journey that never ends, right? And so you'll note that about Pluralsight. We are always learning. We are always growing. We are always trying to figure out how to do things better. We are giving people, providing them with the freedom, right, to experiment and to figure things out, which sometimes means getting answers wrong, but learning very quickly from those and applying those lessons learned accordingly. It's also a very values-driven organization. It always has been from the start. And we really try to lean in on values that really aspire toward being about something bigger, right? About a shared team mission versus an individual mission. Values that are all about meeting people where they are and giving them the space and the respect to be who they are. Values that are all about personal accountability and striving for excellence. So it's a very unique culture in that way. Lots of companies talk about values. Most companies have values, but for many, it's just it's a handy PowerPoint slide or a Word doc or a laminated card or something. I think Pluralsight is unique in that we really try to live by those every day.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely echo from my own personal experience working from the outside, and not for long, but with a couple team members over at Pluralsight, always have been met with an understanding of where I'm at. Sometimes it takes me a little time to, formulate the question. I've always received so much patience and undivided attention. So I can definitely echo that from the outside as well.
Yeah,
And, you know,
folks care about again, engaging at a deep level. I think that's why you've got so much love and respect out there in the market for folks who have used our product or engage with us. Right, we're really trying to help people to get what they need from us. And also, right, patience. It takes some time to engage and listen and sort of figure out how we need to support our customers.
For sure, and meet people where you are, like you said. I really liked how you phrased that. You know, something else that caught my eye. We've talked a lot about some of the different initiatives that you're involved in. You know, starting with your background and drilling into those. Talked a little bit about some of the partnerships that you are involved in and have created and nurtured. Something else that came up is I noticed that you were a board chair on the Community of Unity.
Yes.
Could you just take a couple minutes, tell us about this organization, their work, and why are you passionate about it?
Sure. Well, first off, I've had the honor to be affiliated very closely with Community of Unity, or C of U, for now better than 20 years, 21 years, which is the entire lifespan of the organization. The organization, medium-sized nonprofit based in New York City, focused on supporting underserved Black and Brown youth, primarily in urban environments like New York City. We work with ages 14, sort of high school freshmen, to age 22, sort of early professionals. And the program really is all about strengthening the social and emotional skills of the young men and women that we work with, to enable them to develop both a growth mindset and a strong sense of belonging. And we feel if we can help them to do that, the increased personal agency that they see as a result, the proactivity and empowerment that they experience as a result, allow them to achieve whatever objective or goal that they've set for themselves in their lives. And we engage in a number of different ways. We engage primarily through one-on-one and peer group mentoring and counseling. The core program at Community of Unity are our FAM groups, which are small same-sex groups that work together and form strong peer bonds over a number of years of working together. We also have a wonderful outdoor education program, as well as a phenomenal college and career guidance program as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's, it's so cool now being in the diversity, equity, inclusion, and HR industries, hearing about some of these awesome organizations. I guess just personally, I wasn't ever not necessarily able to, but I just wasn't a part of anything like that specifically growing up. But what I do remember, and hopefully Dad, if you're watching, he's probably not, but if he is,
he can see it later. He can see it later.
I can send you the recording. I distinctly remember him, and this is something that changed my life forever, was just saying you can be anything you want if you put your head to it, right? So just again, like that growth, facilitating that growth mindset, making me aware that you can do whatever you want. It's not necessarily always going to be easy. You got to work for it, but the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, the way we sort of talk about it at Community of Unity, and frankly also at Pluralsight to a certain extent, is about changing the narrative. I think in the case of Community of Unity and the young men and women we specifically work with, the narrative has always been a negative one, right? You can't do this, or you are lesser than, or whatever it may be, coupled with, some very challenging environments and circumstances that these young men and women come from. And so we've always been about trying to provide those folks with the life skills that they need to change the narrative and to really sort of take control over what their destiny is, and to make the right choices based on what it is they want to accomplish. So that's the work.
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important work, and it's very cool that you've had it going for so long. It's got to be the stuff that I'm sure you look forward to your work at Pluralsight as well, but that has to be extremely rewarding.
It absolutely is. But I'll say this, the wonderful thing, especially at this stage in my career about Pluralsight, it was a really unique opportunity to sort of bring some, personal passions together with some professional passions as well. And so, as I said, we're all very motivated by this mission of helping to teach people and helping them to learn and leveraging that to get to wherever they want to get to in life.
Very amazing. Well, I know for me, especially learning this much about you already, I can't wait to see what's next for your career and for your life. Do you have any plans, anything on the horizon or goals for the future?
There's sort of enough on the plate right in front of me, so I try not to get sort of too. Even though I'm a strategist, and our whole makeup tends to be more, as they say in chess, sort of downboard thinking and thinking about the future. So I try to balance that with also making sure that the things that are right in front of me are taken care of, because that's what's going to enable you to get to the future. So no great plans other than trying to help Pluralsight grow and sort of reach the potential it can, and to maximize the kind of impact we think is possible through Pluralsight One. There's plenty there to do as you peel back that onion, based on just what's in front of me in my day-to-day. So I'll let you know what I want to be when I grow up as soon as I figure it out. But right now a little busy
it definitely makes me feel better that maybe you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, because
no,
I have no idea.
I don't. Still figuring it out.
With 1 minute left, can you just tell the audience, how can we get in touch? How can we connect with you? And how can we support some of the endeavors that you're involved in?
Yeah, well, learn a little bit more, sort of first, sort of the theme here, learn and educate. You can learn a little bit more about Pluralsight One at pluralsight1, .org. You can check us out there. Of course, please feel free to engage with the Pluralsight platform at pluralsight.com. Check us out there. Community of Unity, as we discussed, communityofunity.org. Check us out there and see what we're doing. And there are plenty of ways to engage with us there. And for folks who have, questions or anything that you want to engage with me on going forward, initials CO at pluralsight.com is my email, and feel free to ping me. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to reach out and connect, and Twitter. I'm pretty easy to find these days.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we'll get to speak again.
Awesome.
Thanks everyone in the audience for attending the summit. More to come, and I'll turn it back over to you, Meg.
Thank you, Dana, and thank you so much, Chris, to Chris and Dana, for that amazing chat. That was really, really great to get to listen in on. So thank you so much for both of you.
My pleasure, my honor. Thank you, guys.